Hi, I'm Victoria Mickens and you're watching Comp Talk on Wild Shrimp TV. After a pretty lousy opening day for the Roxy Quiksilver Pro Gold Coast, we saw the conditions improve immensely and we got to see the world's best perform in proper Snapper Rocks right-hand point break conditions. We started the day off with the last heat for round one for the women's, where Stephanie Gilmore, six-time world champion, battled with Malia Manuel and Lakey Peterson and actually got the win over them, sending them both into round two. Then we got things started with the men for round one, where we saw former event champ Matt Wilkinson actually go straight into round three with a really stellar performance, showing that last year his performances and his victories were not just flukes. We saw a new sense of maturity in Kolohe Andino. He was sticking to his waves all the way to the end, not really giving up when the waves reformed into the inside section, and showing commitment and control and maturity. So I know that will take him a long way because he has incredible talent, and now that he's getting older, he's getting the maturity part and the discipline part. So it was really cool to see what he has in store for us this season. Then we headed into a heat with Gabriel Medina, where he gave us another look at his backflip, which unfortunately this time he was not able to land like he did in Rio de Janeiro last year. He ended up injuring his MCL, but he took the win over Wiggly Dantes and rookie Zeke Lau. Yesterday gave us a very good look at all of our rookie class. However, there were three performances in particular that really stood out to me and showed that these rookies are ready to prove themselves and show their worth. One being Joanne Daru, who produced excellent scores up against a very in-form Joel Parkinson. Then we had Ethan Ewing, who put together a mind-blowing first wave of his debut performance for the championship tour with a 9.10. It was crazy. There were just wild maneuvers and he just showed control and maturity, and the kid is only 18 years old, so I have no idea how far he can go with his future. Then we have the Portuguese Prince, who took a very close win over Felipe Toledo and Adrian Buchan. Speaking of Joel Parkinson, he showed fantastic form when he produced a 9.23 for the heat win, and he's obviously been very inspired by Kelly Slater's decision to go for his last world title and Mick Fanning's return to the tour after a year off. John Florence and Tyler Wright reminded everyone why they are the reigning world champions. They approached their heats with extreme focus and very tactical and calculated strategies in terms of winning them, and they talked about it a little bit in their post-heat interviews, that it was just kind of straightforward strategy and not taking it too seriously and serving their best, but trying to also use heat tactics to be able to defeat their opponents. Tyler Wright threw down a 9.50 and an 8.00, leaving her fellow competitor, 16-year-old Alyssa Locke, in the dust. Although I definitely know we'll be seeing more of Locke in the near future based on her composure during her post-heat interview and her ability to really surf well and build on her scores. Every single time she served, she increased her score by a little bit of a margin, and it was great to see her just stick with it and appreciate the learning experience. And when she was talking during her post-heat interview, she was all smiles. I mean, she was just beat by the world champion for 2016. So it was a really great experience for her to be able to compete in a championship tour event as a wild card, and she's only 16 years old, so she has so many years to go, and I definitely see her making the tour in the near future. Julian Wilson, freshly married, kicked off his season with a few excellent scores to take the win over his fellow competitors, and former world champion Adriano de Souza did the same with a 9.17. We then had two incredibly emotional performances from two competitors who have returned to the tour after being injured. Those competitors are Bede Durbridge and Owen Wright. Owen took his heat win and had everybody in tears for a while after his heat. Tears of joy, of course. And really motivated his younger sister, Tyler, to do really well in her heat later on, where she scored the 9.50. Then the women took the stage once again, and finished up round 2. Johanne Defay with a buzzer beater lead change over fellow competitor and Frenchman Pauline Audot. They're actually traveling partners, so it was really interesting to hear Pauline's insight on her loss to Johanne Defay, but it was a very close heat. It was back and forth the entire time, and both competitors put up a serious fight, so it was really cool to see Defay advance, knowing that she's the top seed and she's performed so well so far in the QS season with a victory in the very beginning. We had a super close battle between best friends and travel partners, Coco Ho, who's been dealing with bronchitis for the past couple of weeks, and Malia Manuel, although Coco Ho did take the win over Malia. Lakey Peterson totally changed the game. She stepped up the entire contest over Silvana Lima when she posted a total heat score of 19.27. Lakey actually posted her very first perfect ride, a 10.00, when she strung together several maneuvers and then slid right into a tiny little tube ride towards the end of her wave, getting her first ever 10-point ride of her championship tour career. It was so epic, and the conditions were firing, so it was definitely calling for at least one perfect ride for the day, and she did it towards the evening, so it was really cool to see. And she had so much variety and really earned that score, and she ended up backing it up with a 9.27, so she was absolutely on fire. Lastly, into the evening, they started the men's round 2, and we kicked off with a triumph of yet another Wright sibling, Mikey Wright, over Michelle Perez, and a very close defeat of Kelly Slater over trials winner and former CT competitor, Nat Young. The forecast for Snapper Rocks is only going to get better over the next few days, so definitely tune into Comp Talk on Wild Shrimp TV to hear more about Day 3 of competition, and head over to World Surf League right now, where I'm sure they are kicking off the next few rounds for the men's and the women's for the Roxy Quicksilver Pro Gold Coast.